Bible does not support racism. Obviously, Christians have derived from Scripture a justification for slavery because there was a form of slavery in the Old and New Testaments. It had little resemblance to modern chattel slavery, but nevertheless it was bonded servitude, and you were working for a slave master in different conditions. I think what you have to say to people who look for that kind of justification is two things. First, there's every indication that in the Bible, slavery is not the ideal relationship. Paul says to the Corinthians, if you can get your freedom, do seek it. Otherwise, you don't need to move your station. Now that seems like a modest avowal, but I think it fits what the Bible's moving towards. And then the second thing is that all of Scripture cries out for essential equality between races and people of different ethnic backgrounds based on the image of God, whether they be Christians or not. So the great hope of the gospel is that all tongues, all languages, all nations will have a part in this. And that principle, if applied correctly and wisely, would abolish not just slavery, but racism. So though the church took much too long a time to recognize some of that, eventually, especially in the 18th and 19th centuries, reformers and abolitionists recognized the urgency of abolishing race prejudice, forced servitude, and the rest of it. And one of the greatest reformers of all time was William Wilberforce, who took a whole life to persuade a reluctant parliament that slavery was evil and that the trade ought to be abolished. He did it with great ability, and he had a lot of folks behind him, the Clapham group, and he arranged for the compensation of former slaveholders, and it was a very thoughtful way. Abolitionists didn't do as well in the United States. We had a civil war, as you know, and so that was an unfortunate way to move forward. But now, in most of these nations, officially speaking, slavery is not tolerated. We know, sadly, unofficially, that there's an awful lot of trafficking and slaveholding around the world, but it's not endorsed.